You are listening to the On Purpose Podcast, your guide to living a more purposeful life. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the On Purpose Podcast. Well, you know, man, what we're trying to do, we're trying to be the most impactful podcast in the world. And one of the ways we're doing that is by traveling the world a little bit. And we've been down in Baja. We wintered in Baja California, Mexico, and Baja California Sur this past year, and one of the people we met is this week's guest, and I'm really excited to bring him on here. Him and his family run an RV park in El Pescadero, which was quickly became probably our favorite small town we stayed in. We just kept extending our stays and ended up spending 3 weeks of winter down there with his family. They run a little RV park there, and each morning I got to start my day having coffee and a conversation with him and his little son, Andre, as they walked the grounds. And what I loved about this guy is he listened. And he was always like asking intriguing questions, and not just questions to ask out of like, oh, I got to talk to you because you're staying here, but because he genuinely wanted to learn. And he did it not just with me, but with everybody. And I wanted to get to know more about him, and we had some language barriers, but he was teaching me some cool little sayings in Spanish, and it was just fun being around him. It was fun getting to know him, and I thought, man, I'm going to bring him to the show, and let's share his story with the On Purpose community. So I hope you enjoy this week's interview with Asa Flores, or as we call him, Asa. Enjoy the show. Asa, my friend, finally, welcome to the On Purpose Podcast. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Jerrod? I'm doing great. How about you, my friend? How is it going?
We're blessed, dude. We're blessed. We're still in Baja, Mexico, enjoying this beautiful winter. But we miss you guys, man. We loved it down in El Pescadero.
Did you? I don't know, how long has it been that, like, almost 2 weeks that you guys left?
Probably a little longer.
Oh, wow, that fast. Man,
Yeah.
Baja is special on winter time. I mean, most of the year, but winter time is just super nice because it's it's refreshing, not too hot, not too humid. Although this season was too hot, right?
Okay.
But in winter time, but it's getting nice. It's
I
it's
love
it's
it.
getting chilly. At this time, I feel chilly, and I love it. I like it. Yeah,
I
makes
love
me forget about the summer that is coming.
That's so good. Well, Asa, it's an honor to have you on the show and to share your story with our community. And one of the things I loved was what you sent me when I asked you to come on the show. Do you mind if I share that with the community real quick?
Absolutely, go ahead.
I love this, right? This is your words back in an email. You said, "Thanks for inviting me, Jerrod. It took me by surprise as I understood you were inviting me to check out your podcast, not participate in it. It makes me nervous, but if somehow my words can help someone or encourage someone, then the purpose will be achieved." And then you put, "Actually, I'd like to know why you decided to invite me." Right? And I think,
That's
honestly,
right.
Asa, what you said there is exactly why I wanted you on the show, because one of the things I'll remember for 3 months of living in Baja, of all the places we went, touching whales, the sunshine, the beach, the good food, one of the things I'll always remember is talking with you and Andre every morning for 3 weeks. Right? Like every morning you came by and you checked in to see how we were doing, and we got to talk to you, and your son looked forward to seeing us, and we looked forward to seeing him. And you didn't ask questions to just say, I have to ask this question, I'm going to move on. You asked a question because you genuinely wanted to know something. You wanted to learn something and to share. And then when I asked you questions, I could just see like you were proud to share, and you went out of your way to share stuff with us to make sure we got to find the coolest spots to go hang out or your history. And I love that about people. And that's exactly why I have this show, is because everybody's stories, everybody's energy can help someone or encourage someone if only we get the chance to share it. And I wanted to have the honor, Asa, of helping share your story to all the people that follow us around the world. So that's why I invited you on the show, Asa, because I love you, man. Like, I love
Oh
being
man.
around you guys.
Oh man. Yeah. Thank you very much for such words. Well, I'm honored as well to be part of this great podcast. You know, I'm always encouraged by stories, and you know, it's fun how life can communicate sometimes with you. Sometimes it's on something that you read, a quote that you find, a say that that you hear out of someone. But I think that I've been finding that also being on the RV park, man, that this place has give me give me the opportunity to find and communicate with such great people as you
Mm.
guys. It I found so, I mean I think I have my own podcast in the on a daily basis when we are busy, you know, because I receive these stories, these experiences, and you get something, you know. Sometimes I believe that life finds the way to communicate with you in order to let you know that you are doing good, that you're in your path, or probably you need to do some adjustments as well, right? So after hearing some stories, some experiences, some adventures, it's always exciting, man. Absolutely. I just met a couple 2 days ago that I was like, wow, if this is not a signal from the universe to me, I don't know what that is, but I'm definitely taking it, you know.
Nice.
So it's I've been finding as you are doing with all the great interviews and all the great um how do you call it when you invite them, your guests,
Yeah.
when you all the guests and all that beautiful stories that they have shared. Sometimes I found myself that just like on a morning talk and see how is it going, right? So yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. But what I love about you, Asa, is you always made time to listen, right? And I think that's one of the things, especially in American culture, where we're very busy, everybody wants to be busy, and we go, go, go. We don't always slow down to listen, right? And that's where you learn, and that's where you grow, and that's where that feeling you get comes from, is not asking the question, but actually listening to the information. And that's, I just enjoyed being able to talk with you, and I was like, man, I want to learn more about you. And that's why I messaged you and made you use email when you were like, dude, hit me on WhatsApp. And I'm like, I don't use WhatsApp that much. I got to do email.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Sometimes it's I'm moving constantly, so um WhatsApp is way faster. But
yeah.
I mean it worked because I'm also like paying attention on what's going on, the emails, maybe on reservation coming, or you know. So we're here,
Yeah.
so we made it work. That's
It's
good.
awesome. All right, so I got to warm you up though before we start sharing a little more stories. I like to know, and my audience likes to know some stuff about you. You ready for some of these questions?
Shoot, let's go.
All right, coffee or tea? What are you drinking?
Oh, coffee, man. I'm a coffee person, definitely.
What kind?
Just it's I have two preferences. In the mornings, I like to have a big cup of coffee, just American coffee. But after lunch, I like to get an espresso, man. There's not such thing as an espresso to me after lunch. And it's like sometimes my wife asks me, "Hey, you sure you don't want a larger coffee like American, so you on a regular cup?" And you know, I don't feel attracted to have American coffee. I just need to have an espresso, and I really enjoy it. You know, it's a funny thing, but I really do.
That's awesome. Beaches or mountains?
Oof, tough question, eh? Tough question.
You got both right where you're at, so it's amazing.
That's true. That's true. Uh, you know, when I was living in mainland, I mean, it was full time, right? And where I was, it was right at the center of Mexico in Guanajuato state. And sometimes, I mean, because of work, I couldn't come to Baja. I tried to come at least once per year. But at some point of the year, I started feeling like I need to have salt in my skin. I need to go to the beach. I need to go to the ocean because I grew up nearby. And now that I'm full-time living in Baja, I have the same feeling but going to the mountains or going to the forest, it's a funny thing. So I'm a I'm an outdoors
Yeah,
guy. I love to be outside, and so I think it's a combination of both,
for
right?
sure. That's a good answer. All right, sunrises or sunsets?
Both, definitely.
You can't have both of
Both.
everything, Austin. You gotta
Ah,
pick.
man.
Where's your
Okay.
energy highest? First thing when that sun's rising and you're thinking of the day, or sunset when you're looking back at what you've done?
Oh man, I have the answer, but uh, you won't like it because it's definitely both.
All right, let me
Let me
hear
let
your
me
answer.
explain.
No, it's your
Let
podcast. Let
me
me hear
expl-
your show.
Let me explain myself. So I get to see more suns at the sunrise
Mm,
because typically when I woke up, when I wake up, I'm up to something already, like connecting up to some meetings or checking the schedule, having a coffee while I'm reading I'm at the computer, right? So sometimes I miss the sunrise. And when sunset comes, I mean, I'm typically outside, so I really enjoy it. But sometimes, especially on low season, that the amount of work or the volume of emails decreases, I just go outside, start working out. And when I get to see the sunrise, oh man, it gives me a lot of energy. It's super energetic. The difference that I found between the sunrise and the sunset is that I get a lot of energy and a positive vibration in the sunrise, but in the sunset, I feel grateful,
mm,
because I conquered the day. I
yeah.
made it. I'm appreciating life, you know. So it's like in the morning I get the boost of the sunrise, and the afternoon I get to be grateful. That's the effect that it has to me.
That's a great answer. That's much better than what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I get to see more suns at the sunrise, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in the busy time of year, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? What do you enjoy the most?
Sunrises, hands down.
You're early morning person, right?
I just same as you. I just feel the energy of it when I see it coming up. I'm like, let's go. We got a day to go. Like sunset. I'm gonna tell you honestly. Sometimes I get sad at the sunset because I'm like, no, I don't want this day to be over. Like I need more of this day. You know,
Right.
it's interesting. But no,
Right.
that's great. I love your analogy of energy at a sunrise and gratitude at a sunset. That's really good. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's pretty much what I feel, and I truly feel it.
Yeah.
Some sunsets were more show off than others, but
Mm-hmm.
um it's the same feeling. It's the same feeling. Yeah. And I typically worked out. I like to work out on the nights, and I get another boost of energy after working out. And so I'm a late night person. I
Okay.
go to bed like around midnight, 1 a.m. If I just forget about the clock, I can just go to 2 a.m. Right? But and also like being working out in the night and watch the stars and the moon, man, it's so yeah, you can still see some in Baja, right?
Yeah.
So that's a blessing. That's a blessing too. While I was living in mainland, there's just too much pollution. That's
Mm,
impossible, right?
okay. Do you reading books or listening to audiobooks?
I try both. I try both, but it attracts me more ebooks.
Okay.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
reading right now? Do you have a book you're reading?
I have a book that is sitting waiting for me because I haven't paid too much attention. But the title says in Spanish is La Ley del Uno, which means like precisely translated, it'll be the law of one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual title in English, but that's the one that I'm reading. It's very interesting. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Last
yeah.
warm-up question for you, Asa. You got to get your mind right. You got to think like, okay, I got to get going here. Do you go silence or do you turn on some music?
Oof. I can't have both, right? So
You could have both. It's your show. Who am I to tell you what you can have, Asa? Who am I?
I don't know, man. I'm so
Give me an example.
I think I'm discovering myself through your questions, man. Because yeah, because sometimes I do both, right? If it's a hard situation, like a tough thing that I'm dealing with, I like playing scenarios with the
Mm,
music on.
mm,
But it's something like when it comes more like putting my feet on the ground, it's silence.
mm. I love
Yeah,
it. Yeah, that's good.
it's silence.
All right, you feeling warmed up, buddy? Yeah, we're discovering
Oh yeah,
stuff, huh? We're
yeah,
good.
absolutely, man. Yeah, yeah. I think you warm me up even more than my own coffee, So
Asa, so I'm just happy to have you on here, man. This is exactly why I started this show and exactly why like it excites me is I get to talk with people from all around the world and learn about them and have an appreciation for their story. So thank you again for being here. And I want to start with one of the things I really loved about our conversations is you respected that I was trying to speak Spanish. Like I would talk to all the groundskeepers like as much as I could, and then you would give me like a new little word or phrase every day, which I loved. So I want to ask you, when did you first start speaking English, and how long has that been for you?
buena pregunta. Uh, you know, when I was at elementary school, my parents has had a grocery store, and there back then there was just a few. I'm talking about like 1995 or so. And I mean the town, it wasn't as it is right now, for sure. You can imagine, right? But I mean, I think this area has been always in the eye of surfers and outdoors, overlanders for camping and visiting and escaping also for the winter, right? So in that I think that store gave me the opportunity to have English as a second language. And my mom and dad has been always like visionary, and they they saw what these visitors that we had at the store from the US and Canada mostly couldn't find around of their daily basis products. So they always get them in and have it ready at the store.
Mm.
So we always had people from like expats from the US and Canada visiting. So I always kind of grow with that English as a second language. But it was a funny thing because I always felt attracted to English, and I saw these guys coming at the store and trying to speak Spanish, and they did it awful, you know, they did it awful, but they didn't care.
Yeah.
That's what it
Mm.
impressed me. They didn't care. They just went for it, communicate the best way they could, and they did it. They managed to solve whatever the purpose was, the store or at the conversation that we were having. So what I'm telling you this is because um I myself I was like, okay, I can probably have a hi, how are you, goodbye, how's it going conversation, that's
Yeah.
it. But I was so afraid to speak it in the wrong way.
Mm.
And at some point when I realized about this, I said, what the hell? I'm gonna I'm gonna get rid. I mean, I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna skip it. However, speak it out. However it goes, and If I made some mistakes, somebody will correct me, or I will learn from it, or I don't care. And from that point on, I think my English started like boom, boosting up. And
Okay.
I still have several mistakes that I never got to correct, but
No.
I hope I can be uh, able to communicate for all your amazing audience. So yeah.
Oh no, this is perfect. So you didn't actually go to like classes for it. You just started conversing with people you were interacting with, meeting.
No, I took some classes.
Okay.
I think that's the part where I lost the fear of
Mm,
communicating in English. And then when I was at junior school, we call it in Spanish secundaria.
yeah.
Um, we had some classes, and I had an amazing teacher. And then at the junior high, preparatoria, maybe
See.
that's what it is. And then a little bit when I was on studying my engineering degree in mainland, but the English level in that section of Mexico was so low because they don't have much tourism or international business. I mean, at least back then. So, but basically that gave me the basis. And the other section I think that was the most important is when I was working for this English company for 12 years. And it was just like on a daily basis that we were having English conferences or meetings, reports, all the emails. So that's
Okay.
pretty much how I got introduced to English. And then obviously the RV park. So yeah.
Okay. So you have an engineering degree from mainland.
Yeah.
Okay. And you worked in that field for a while?
Not at all.
Sounds like America.
you know, oh man, it's funny thing. Yeah, it's silly. It's when my parents ask me, "Hey, okay, so you're about to finish la preparatoria, junior high. What are you chasing for? What would you like to do?" I was I, I was 16, almost turning 17 back then, and I had all these argues with my father. Man, we just couldn't get along,
Mm,
right? We couldn't get along, and it was I mean, I think it's it could be something common that at some point we get some you be I mean, as teenagers we become just douchebags. So and so I had this all this argument. So what I decided at some point is that I don't want to have a bad relationship with my father. I mean, I love him, I respect him, but it's just that we just can't get along. So I decided to go as far as possible, right? And I decided to study an engineer that I didn't know anything about. It's called in Spanish, it's called mechatronics, which is a combination between mechanical, electronics, and automation, right? So it's
okay.
like kind of like similar basis of the robotics.
Yep.
And I hate it. I hate it. But I'm terco, like a donkey. I'm stubborn. Is
Yeah.
that the word?
Stubborn.
Stubborn.
See.
Yeah.
See.
So I kept my decision. I keep going, and I passed, and I succeed at engineering with the help of many good friends that I met in the university, which is called the Tecnológico in Tecnológico Durango. So that's why I moved over there, and after that, that opened me the opportunity and the vision. I mean, my horizon expanded so long, so large. And then I moved to mainland to central Mexico, to Guanajuato, and found this company. And I start doing my we call it practicas, when you are like, is the step between
Hmm.
having the like formal job. You're like practicing.
Yeah. Like
You're
we'd call it
doing
Yeah, it'd be like an internship in America.
Exactly, that's what it is,
Yeah.
internship. So um and that, oh man, that opened the horizon to me again, and I just decided, I'm not gonna stick it in the automation side. My last project that I developed, while I still being an internship, it was I did some automation for that company, and some processes, and then I just decided, I got hired, and then I just decided to move in the direction that I felt attracted to explore,
Mm.
and from there I just got farther and farther from my career. Yeah.
What was it that you found yourself drawn to do?
Can you
What? Yeah.
rephrase?
What?
Got it. Great.
Yeah. What was it? What was it that was pulling? Like, where were you being pulled away from robotics? Where was it leading you?
Leadership.
People.
Leadership. People. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to my first role was to I was part of a team that it was related to production. It was support area for production. It was called presetting. So that was a team of like 10 people, and it was pretty shocking to me. I was like super afraid because some of the guys over there, such great great guys. They had inexperience my age. I was 22 years and 22 years old, and they had age but unexperienced. So it was like, how am I going to lead these guys if they have all the experience behind them, and I'm just the rookie that just got graduated and now being the leader of this team. So it was a huge challenge, and it was a huge step for me to enter, but it became one of the most incredible experience that I had. And from that role, I moved to procurement, and I ended up in that position. The first being a presenting leader, I was in there for like 5-6 years or so, and the rest was on procurement side. It was pretty amazing.
Hey, so I want to talk to you because you don't seem like I couldn't imagine you being a robotics guy. Also, like you're a people guy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So at some point in that journey to engineer, because engineering is about things, right? You make things.
right.
When were you like, no, man, I want to go completely people oriented. I want to be around people.
After this first role that I played in that company,
Okay.
that was the like the where I experienced what is become to be part of a team, encourage, and you know, um, it was quite shocking to me that my age was as being 22 years old. These guys had the same amount of years, but inexperience,
Yeah. Mm.
right? So that was the challenge that led me to become a more people guy,
Yeah.
because they knew how to do the work, and they were pretty experienced. They solved the issues. It was just a matter of giving some focus, and I was the intermediate between the company strategies and the execution of what these guys were doing, right?
Yeah.
So I felt challenged a lot, day by day, in all of those single days of those 5 years.
Mm.
And because it's not easy, but I found my interest over there.
Yeah, I love that. See, and I think that's a huge lesson for people is you don't necessarily find your purpose or your interest or your path in life in a straight line. Sometimes you got to go off and you're going to do something completely different to identify it. And I think we have this myth. I don't know how you'd say it in Spanish, but we have this myth sometimes that we should sit and do nothing until we find our purpose. And I'm like, no, you got to do something. Like, you're going to find it by doing
Exactly.
something. You can't find it by sitting waiting for it.
It's crazy how life works, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much my story.
What did your so you're gonna be done with engineering? I want to know, what did your dad say when you're like, Dad, I'm not gonna do this anymore?
Well, for my father, I it was like succeed because I finished my
Mm.
university. I got my title and certification, and that gave me the opportunity to access into the industrial world. So, and I was quite happy with what I was finding, right? So he was totally fine with
Okay.
that, and he just said that, is if you're feeling happy, I see that you are happy. That's great. And also, I didn't tell you this, but when I moved to mainland out of Baja, because I wanted to be as much as separated as possible, uh, there's where I learned how to communicate with my father.
Mm.
So that was a huge lesson. We had to become apart in order to appreciate both,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I had my dad as one of my best friends. We became the best friends,
Uh,
In on his last years after cancer showed up, he couldn't hear, and he got deaf because as a side effect of a medication. But that also gave the opportunity to recover his sense of humor, and
mm.
it was a blast. I mean, he managed to read the lips, so we were able to communicate or draw, and he was able to he started out to make some jokes, and it was amazing, man. So it's, I mean, now that you're asking me these questions, I get to see an overview from my past and see that all the things has been presenting in my life, because at some point I decided to move out of something that I wasn't attracted to, and chase what I was interested in, and that gave me the opportunity to being discovering myself, and also finding some appreciation and gratefulness on some specific topics that I didn't have
Yeah.
before.
I love it. Did you guys have the RV park when your dad was still with you? Was he part of
Yeah, yeah,
developing this?
yeah. He was. Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, he did. Mom and him did the whole work. Uh, yeah, he started it. That the RV park started in 1997. Uh,
Okay.
and my father passed 3 years ago. Yeah, so yeah, he was quite on.
And now you get to keep living it up with him, right? Like sharing it with him because his
I
spirit's still
love it.
there.
I love it. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what makes it such a special place, man. Is you can feel the love when you get there, right? Like you can feel that like you matter when you're there. Like just the way you treat people and the interactions and your attention to detail and not just as a customer. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that as a human, right? Like as a person, you want to be somewhere you're like, man, it's important that I'm here. Like there's a reason we ended up here, not just
Right.
for a business transaction, but to learn from each other and to share with each other and to become friends.
I mean, it is, I mean, you can see it in both ways. It's a business, absolutely. But that business, the real value of that business to me is the people I met. Who would have said that meeting Andy, Jerrod, and Otis on an RV park will give me the opportunity to be sitting with you, having this conversation where you are asking me these questions about my past, and that now I'm feeling like, oh my God, I'm being so blessed.
Sure.
So that's how it is, man. That's
right?
how it is. It's the real value of having an RV park is the people that I met. The greatest experience that I have had, and also the not so great experience, because there are some that are like really will hate to live an experience again, but also those bad experiences has brought a lesson behind. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a say that I read last year. I loved it. I've been looking to translate it to English properly, but I just couldn't find the way. Um, this that say the quote says everything todo pasa para algo.
Mm-hmm.
Everything happens, uh, and this is the tricky part
For a
when
reason.
translating to English. I mean, I don't know if for a reason is because of a reason, or if we change the for to a reason,
See?
to a purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me try to explain. When you think about why are you in a certain situation, let's call a bad situation, right? You can say everything happens for a reason, but you can give that reason as you can put your situation as a consequence of something that happened in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
That put you in that position, and you could hate that situation and blame to that amount of things that happened that put you where you are, right? But in Spanish, that quote is being focused on the future. When you say todo pasa para algo, is that everything is happening for something that is coming next. So the purpose or the sense that you get of that quote is that you're focusing your current situation in something that will be coming next. So you gotta get prepared. You give your current situation, whether it's good, whether it's bad, a purpose. So you get prepared, and it puts you in a positive situation instead of a suffering
Mm.
something that happened, and that's why you are like that. I don't know if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
No, I love it. I love it. Um, and I love that you shared that with us, and you also put in your email back to me that you fail constantly, though. Little by little, you're adopting that philosophy, and I think that's the honest truth, right? And that's what we need to have in our relationship with ourself is honesty. And it kind of allows me to look forward and to see that hardships today won't last forever, but they're preparing me for tomorrow. Is being accountable to myself and admitting that, like, yeah, I fail a little bit. I show up short. I'm not perfect. Um, and I think that translates in any language, right? Like that pressure of being perfect and only
Right.
letting people see this perfect side of us when that's not how we live.
That's right. Exactly, my friend.
If everything,
Yeah, it's
go ahead.
yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how boring would our conversation be, Asa, if everything was perfect about us? What would we talk
I
about?
know. I know. And some. I mean, it's nobody wants to share or likes to share the awfulness of life, or their own experience. We talk about the success that we have, or the greatest achievements that we have accomplished. But I mean, uh, we don't talk about the nights that we have cried, that all the pressure that we are carrying or we
Mm,
just got rid of, or the hard situation where we have been. But that's pretty much. I mean, if you find someone who you feel like, oh my God, that guy is a really good example of life, and he must be succeeding in every aspect. Yeah, absolutely. Everything has a balance, right?
yeah.
In order to be in certain situation, you got to experience good and bad, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
wanted or unwanted,
Mm,
right? So it's part of it, right? We all had our demons chasing us and putting us on a challenge, under pressure, and that happens to everybody. But you know what? I think that the message is that everything shall pass. You know, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Everything shall pass. So is this,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And you mentioned something about observing, seeing the results in others. And I think, right, keep discovering and seeing the results in others. I think that's important, right? And I think sometimes we don't do enough of that. If you're successful, I can watch how you got successful. I can watch how you're acting and interacting and pattern myself that way, right? I can borrow some of your success to create success in mine. I think that was a very insightful statement that you had there, is watching for success in others. Because I think a lot of times we get caught up in looking for the negative in each other. It's like, I'm trying to look at you to find what you're not doing good so I can put you down to make myself feel good. But I think, like you and I both agree, I feel better when you feel good. And if I could be part of help making you feel good, then I feel better. And as part of that is
I know.
looking at you as, what's your success? What are you good at? Wow, look how good he's doing this. Maybe I can do a little bit of that in my life.
Yeah, that's when you start like being encouraged by other people, right? Instead of trying to just feed your ego and get, I don't know, just we always get to choose
Mm,
which role we want to play, like suffering or just leading our current situation into our future, right? um uh, it's I don't know, I mean, it's not that easy. Sometimes you find this decision
mm,
and you get to control your emotions and see and get to choose, I'm gonna be proactive, I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna take the best out of this situation, I'm gonna take his experience and try to use it as for my own purpose. But sometimes you don't see that decision, you just go naturally and feed your ego, and like you end up in a situation where it's just a negative chain of success, of events happening,
yeah.
right? So, but I mean, that's life still, man. And if you're under a bad situation, it's because there's a lesson to be learned over there, right?
Mm. Always a lesson, bro. Always a lesson, right?
It's always a lesson. Yeah, it's always a lesson. I've been finding that that has been for my entire life. This that I'm learning in the last 1 2 years, man, and after finding, like, connecting the dots about it, I've been realizing that, oh, okay, so life works that way. Okay,
Mm.
I'm I'm getting it. I'm getting it, right? So it makes you better, like, step by step. It doesn't happen suddenly. There's not magic recipe or formula to become just successful according to what successful means for each person, right? So
Mm. Thank you. That's the key, right? Is knowing what your success looks like for you,
yeah, exactly.
right? And I think where we get in trouble is when I think my success has to look like your success, and I want what you have, and
Exactly. Yeah.
that's not true to me, right? I don't need to have what you have to, like, I need to know what it is that I need to be successful, and I think that's the work that when we do that, and not even getting the answer, but just in the process of doing it, is where you are, is where you just discover so much around you, right? Because I don't think truly the process of finding my success, this is just mine, is a destination. It's always a
I
journey.
totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I think I haven't found yet, or I am not yet at the point where I can say, hey, I found my success. This is my destination. I already arrived to it. No. I'm not there, and I don't actually, I don't know if I'm ever gonna say that, because as soon as I'm I feel like I'm doing it right in order to meet my dreams, my goals, my targets. That's just become signals of I'm taking the right path in order to keep enjoying my life, until it becomes to an end, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so interesting how we can, and and funny thing is that I think that once that you start discovering your path, there's where I believe that you're just born, you're coming to this, you open your eyes and then you start experience the life that you want.
Yeah.
Before that, it's just a construction of your character, of like a definition of what you like, what you don't like, what you dislike, or what you um, want to get rid of, or what doesn't serve. Getting all these tools in order to boom chase that path, right?
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And it's amazing when you live curiously and you're curious about the people around you and you want to learn about them. Like you said, you learn about yourself at times.
Say that again, please, Jerrod.
When you're curious about learning about other people,
Uh-huh.
you learn about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Through your stories, I can think, wow, what about this? What about that? Right? And I love it. And that's what I loved about Baja. And one of the things, I'm going to do a different episode just on like the top things I learned about my time in Baja. But one of the biggest things, man, is just I love the pace of life, that it's tranquil, right? Like it's slowed down. Like you don't have to be in a rush all the time. You can talk to people. And one of the best ways I see that, and it's a little thing, is in the United States, if you go out for dinner, go out for lunch, the waitresses and waiters are watching you. As soon as you're kind of done eating, they're going to come get your plates, and then they're going to put a check on the table, right? And it's kind of implied like, okay, you're done eating, pay your bill, and go somewhere else. But in Baja, they'll let you sit at the table all night. If you don't ever ask for the check, they're never bringing it. Right? Like you literally
That's true.
have to go ask, I'll probably mess it, la cuenta, por favor. Right? Like
Claro.
you have to ask them to bring you the bill. Otherwise, they want you to sit and be happy because it's this time together.
I know. Yeah.
And
That's true.
I love it. And that's just a subtle thing that says if I'm welcome or I'm unwelcome. Right? It's a subtle thing that says, man, just enjoy your space or get up and get moving to what's next.
Exactly.
And that's,
I hear.
Go ahead.
There's a story when I moved back to Baja. Um, I was so used to the industrial life, the lead time, tag time, production, bam, bam. That company was related to my former job was related to the automotive industry. So it was everything about productivity, bam, 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 constantly, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 360 days per year, right? So when I moved to Baja, I found that like, oh man, it's so peaceful, it's so quiet, it's so relaxed. I like it. But then in the meantime of my former job and uh, to get to where I just told about relaxing and nice and quiet, there's a middle step. So it's like my former job was like jumping off of a high speed train. And then moving to Baja was like realizing that life was so, so slow. And I was like, come on, I wanted to have some suppliers doing some work for me at the RV park, or calling some services. Yeah, I'm gonna be there like I'm quite busy, so I'll be there like in 3 days. 3 days. Yeah, you can call me in 3 days. And I was like, I can call you. I mean, I'm calling you already, man. So it's okay. You're busy. Okay, I'll see you in 3 days. And then these 3 days happen. Hey, what's up? How are you doing? Are you coming? Yeah, I'll be there in un ratito. That's the most common word in Hispanics, right? And among all the Hispanics, un ratito, right? Which means a little in a short time period, but that short time period it doesn't have a amount of quantity defined. So that could be I'll be there in 1 minute, or tomorrow because I couldn't make it. So I was so stressed because everything moved so slow, but then that forced me to slow down as well and join the pace that Baja had. And then it's just like, it's just nice, man. It's nice to be not in a race and enjoy and appreciate your life.
I love it.
That's what I like it.
That's a great way to end right there. Asa, I love it, and thank you so much for joining us on our show. Where can people stay in touch with you, and what's going on at Baja Serena? You got the website?
Yeah, we have the website, bajaserena.com, Facebook and Instagram mostly. I manage the social media as well, so I am not as like very active in it, but still you can find some info, you can find us over there. But I think that my the best way to find us is come to Baja.
Oh, I love
Come to Baja. It could be, I mean, Baja, I get that some people don't like the desert and the dust and the bumpy roads or the washboards. That's pretty much what we have here. But if you can overcome that, I mean, you can get to really experience Baja. And if by chance you guys are around the area and you decide to stop in Baja Serena, you will be very welcome, and I will get to meet and be very grateful for your visit and get it as I did it with you guys. It'll be such a nice thing to meet you. So I think the best way to share about where to find us is just come to Baja. That's the best way. And Jerrod, I really, really, really appreciate your invitation. Thank you for opening this time to express myself. I think sometimes I speak too much and I need to slow down and start hearing more. But I felt very comfortable, and I've been hearing some of your other episodes, and there's many great experience examples that for some people, as it happened to me, sometimes you're in the right moment to hear the key of whatever you've been seeking for, and then boom, it shows up, appears, and then everything makes sense in somehow. Right?
I love it.
So thank you very much for making me part of it. I am so grateful and I am honored, and thank you.
Asa,
Muchas gracias, amigo.
Es un honor compartir tu historia, amigo mío.
¿Cómo? A ver, say that again, please.
Es un honor compartir tu historia, amigo mío.
El honor es todo mío, Jerrod. Muchas gracias por este espacio y este tiempo. De verdad, gracias a ti.
Mucho gusto, amigo.
And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We will see you all again next week.